questioner asks, I'm getting ready to have my first baby, and I have a friend who has struggled with postpartum depression. I haven't seen a lot written on this topic from a Christian point of view. Could you say more? I think it's a great question, because a lot of times we don't think about these sorts of issues that have a physical aspect to them from a Christian point of view. We, I think, artificially separate things into the physical and medical, and then separate the others into spiritual categories. And I think this question highlights the fact that whenever whether we're thinking about ourselves or thinking about another person, we need to consider both the physical and spiritual aspects of their lives. God has created us as spirit-body duplexes. Both aspects of our personhood is important. And the issue of postpartum depression is one in which we want to be aware of both of those factors. So for example, let's think about the physical aspect of this problem. It's interesting that women, if you look at the research, struggle twice as often with depression than men. And why is that? Research shows that women actually have a higher incidence of depression around the start of the menstrual cycle, in the postpartum period, that is after delivery, and around the time of menopause. So there's some suggestion that the fluctuating hormones that happen, particularly estrogen, that happen around that time, factor into a woman's experience. Now, not every woman that goes through childbirth struggles with depression after delivery. In fact, only about 10% of women really struggle with a more severe form. Many women, though, maybe 50% of women, struggle with what might be called the blues, where for a few days after delivery, maybe until the first week or so after delivery, they may struggle with sadness, tearfulness, increased mood swings, and fatigue. And that's a very common phenomenon, and usually passes on its own. But that too seems to be related to a combination of the changing hormone environment, as well as the fact that usually new mothers aren't getting a lot of sleep. So that's going to make that problem, the hormonal problem, exacerbated. So I think in approaching someone who's either going to have a baby or has struggled or is struggling in this way, this isn't a purely spiritual phenomenon. It's a physical phenomenon. In addition to some of these physical factors that may contribute or be a part of postpartum depression, there are also things outside the person, if you will, that contribute. For instance, expectation of the church community, what it means to be a good mother and to look like a good mother. How helpful or not the woman's husband is in childcare, and how supportive just in general he is. All those are factors external to the woman that impact their experience in the early days of having a new infant. But I think there are also spiritual struggles that can happen as well. And you can think about those in a number of categories. Certainly fear and anxiety about motherhood, particularly if it's a first time. Do I have what it takes to be a good mother? Can I do all that is expected of me as a mother? What are my standards for what a good mother is? All those fears and anxieties may be at play in those early weeks of having a new infant. In addition, there may be the issue of struggling with identity issues. That if this is a first-time mother and she has been working up until this point and has had a really gifted career, and now she's made the decision to stay at home with her child, that's a huge shift that is taking place, and women sometimes struggle with issues of identity and where their purpose and mission in life is. So that can be something that can also contribute, because a lot of changes are happening. So that can contribute to the experience of postpartum depression. Let me give a few suggestions. If you are a young mother who's struggling, look for someone, seek someone out that you can be honest with, who will be able to hear about your struggle and respond non-judgmentally. And on the flip side, if you're someone who is in a congregation with young mothers, ask them, come up to them and ask them how they're doing, and expect them to have struggles. In fact, ask the kinds of questions that will give them the freedom to talk about the struggles they have. Secondly, just think very practically. How can you minister to the day-to-day lives of these young mothers? So it may mean meals. It may be providing childcare for other children in the house. It may involve simply taking this young mother out for lunch. Actually, infants are quite mobile. They don't, except when they're ready to eat, they're sleeping a lot. And so it's actually a great time to go out. And so invite them out for something, or invite them over to your house.